analyze the undercurrents, expose the intrigues, and break down the narratives that define our democracy. Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki delivering razor-sharp analysis, and Ebuka Franklin and Chisom on the question wheel, driving the conversation. We bring you the most compelling discussions on governance, policies, and power plays. Stay informed, stay engaged, stay ahead. The Polity, every weekdays at 9:15 a.m. Exclusive on Udala 104.7 FM Onitsha.
Anambra State Government has declared today, the 7th day of October 2025, a school-free day to celebrate or to commemorate this year's World Teachers' Day. One would have thought that since schools around here do not work on Mondays, Anambra State schools are going to be excluded from the holiday that is being observed in different parts of the country, that was observed yesterday actually. But the Anambra State government deemed it fit to give teachers an extra day to rest because like I said yesterday, these heroes without capes actually do a whole lot. And of course today, Natasha Akpoti representing Kogi Central is expected to find her way back to plenary. Yes, her suspension expired last month, and of course that journey that started with a disagreement on the 20th of February is expected to have come to an end. Because her lawyers are saying the Senate has no reason to prevent her from carrying out her duty as a legislator representing the people of Kogi Central. Fingers crossed we see how it eventually pans out. And of course, Labour is out there mobilizing members, telling them that government is still being uncooperative and we might just be bracing for another strike. Yesterday, we talked about the seeming scarcity in cooking gas. Well, I carried out my research. Some persons, according to reports from the newspapers in different parts of the country, have reported that some gas dispensing stations are selling a kg of gas for as much as 3,000 naira. So yesterday I carried out a research. My contacts in Asaba Delta State told me they bought for 1,400 naira in the morning. And before we finished the Polity, Tony Mbeki, you would not believe it, those same gas stations had locked up. Artificial scarcity. They told people they do not have gas to dispense, hoping that by the time they open again, they would inflate the prices just to maximize more profit than is necessary. I wonder what we intend to gain from all of this profiteering, where our people get to bear the brunt of these policies that choke everybody. But of course, all of these we're going to take a look at on the Polity today. I am Chisom Chinedu, and Tony Mbeki is here to do justice to all of the matters on our desk. And Tony has transformed the game back to... Now, I tell you what. This version of you is absolutely cool, I promise. But you see, yesterday, it was dope. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Chisom Chinedu. I've commissioned you as my hype woman. And you are doing great. I must say this, you've been doing exceedingly well across board and across different structures. In fact, anybody who is so much interested could also contact you for MC work. And you're going to do great by moderating, conducting proceedings in any event. I'm not promoting you anyway, because you have to pay for this advert. But then, in any case, good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, Indianambra. Good morning, Indonesia, Donidu. Good morning, everyone under the reach of our voice. A beautiful morning here from the city of Onitsha. And good morning for our brothers in Sao Paulo. And I bet you it's about 20 minutes than the hour of 5 a.m. in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And also about 20 minutes than the hour of 10 a.m. for our brothers in South Africa, and then 20 minutes and the hour of 8 a.m. for our brothers in Ghana. We are welcoming everyone, and we say good morning to God Almighty, the creator of heaven and earth, for his mercies. If not, we wouldn't have been here. We are here to do justice to so many things and then expose things, the intrigues, the behind the scene issues people don't even know about or talk about. That's why we are here, and we're here to do that. Just sit back, enjoy your day, and enjoy the program.
Of course, we're going to start the program today by telling you what the front pages of the papers say. On our desk this morning, we have this day newspaper, Vanguard, The Punch, and The Guardian newspaper. And we are starting with the front page of the This Day newspaper. Banner headline here, President rallies support for Dangote, highlights his contributions to economy. The story has some riders. Dealers declares Nigeria greater than Pengasson. Describes Africa's richest man as an institution. Tasks NESG on industrial harmony. Abubakar Bagudu, poverty elimination, $1 trillion economy realizable by 2060. The story is on page 10 of North will repay Tinubu's kindness in 2027. Laris Barao saying that Tinubu has been kind to the North, and we've had some stakeholders from the North say Tinubu has not been fair to the North. Different strokes for different folks. On page 5, Senate resolves to tackle U.S. government over Christian genocide talks resumes today. Page 10, Ojulari. Nigeria lost over 600,000 barrels of oil to Pengasson's 3-day strike. The riders says 1.68 million barrels per day of crude oil produced in September. Gas output of 7 BCFL day, highest. I think gas output of 7 billion barrels per day. I'm trying to figure out what this is actually. Now let me go to the next rider. NNPC raises petrol price to 905 naira on union supply disruption. You'd see more on the story on page 10. The printing here is not very clear, and there are other stories. Okay, I think that's all the story. That's the last story on the front page of the This Day newspaper. The rest are advertorials. Now let's go to Vanguard, where we see federal highways of horror collapsed SG. Now further down on this paper, you'd see 2027 presidential poll. Court asked to restrain Jonathan Enoch. On page 8, legal battle begins over minister's certificate. On page 9, nationwide strike looms as ASU non-academic staff of universities issue ultimatum. On page 8, Boko Haram waging war of evil, not religion. Irabo XCDS. On page 6. Now let's head over to the Punch newspaper, where we see the banner headline here. On page 2, Pengasson fires back as Shetima defends Dangote. The riders here, VP warns Labour Union Minister trade words over alleged certificate forgery. 2027 lawyers ask courts to stop Jonathan from contesting. On page 7. Petrol imports dropped to 8-year low. That's according to a report on page 25. Now, if the imports are dropping, it means we are doing. Natasha resumes at Senate today after 6-month suspension. On page 8, court remands Lagos accountant over alleged 200 million naira theft. On page 5, ASI mobilizes chapter for October 13 warning strike. On page 3. On the Guardian newspaper now, banner headline here, Nil Fund kicks as institutions hike tuition fees charges for profit. And this is on page 6. Tame inflation to enjoy reforms. World Bank advises Nigeria. On page 15. Nigeria's food security goals stalled by flawed procurement policy. Experts claim. On page 7. 2027. Mimiko denies leading Southwest consultation team to woo Jonathan. This is on page 5. Strike imminent as RC mobilizes members, the cries of G's in action on page 4. Bandits kill 1, kidnap 2 residents in Kwara on page 30. US pressure triggers FG Senate pushback on alleged Christian prosecution on page 6. Descent to president appointing INEC officials swell on page 3. Certificate scandal. Mba behind my ordeals. Naji claims on page 3. Awujale's too. Over 30 aspirants screened as more jostle for throne. This is on page 5. You can find these stories and more on the pages of the Guardian newspaper. And of course, reactions are continuing actually to trail the whole saga behind Naji's supposed certificate forgery. The ADC has said they are not surprised that Tinubu kept him, that this talk about Naji's certificate being fake has been on since 2023. As a matter of fact, since he was appointed. Yesterday in Abuja, his spokesperson, talking about the Minister of Science and Technology, Naji, his spokesperson, Robert Ungo, said the allegations about this entire certificate forgery thingy are a political witch hunt by Governor Mba, whose intention, he said, was to join the APC. And of course, Naji is being a stumbling block in that path. And the big question at this point is, why are we trying to put this back and forth over certificates that are real and those that are fake? And yesterday we saw a statement where some reports claim that Naji himself have said that he was not actually given the certificate by the school, because according to him, it was no fault of his. It was a delay from the school's administration. While the school has accepted that he was a student at some point in medical biology and biochemistry, if I'm not mistaken, at some point, sometime in, I think 1989, about in this institution, we did not issue the certificate. So there are truths here and there are lies. This certificate, the school did not issue as much as you went to the school. But of course, this school would only issue you a certificate when you have satisfied certain conditions in character and in learning, if I'm not mistaken. Now, this paper, where did you now get it from? Why are we shifting the goalpost? We are still on the matter of where you got this paper from. If you said they did not give you this paper, because we don't care about whose fault it is now. This paper that you have been parading, where did you get it from?
That's a very good question, if you ask me. And just like you pointed out earlier on, you cited some issues, the intrigues and everything. The case of Naji, the Minister of Science and Technology, and that of Mba trying to drag him back into this whole thing reminds me of the case of Julius Caesar and Pompey. If you go back to history, you understand that Pompey was the Senate president at that time, and being the Senate president, the de facto leader of the country. So it was a case where Julius Caesar had become immensely powerful after conquering Gaul, the modern France. The Senate, led by Pompey, and the conservative nobles, the optimates, feared that Caesar's popularity and military strength would make him a dictator. And then Pompey designed everything, used all manner of chicanery to ask that Caesar relinquish some powers and do not come back to Rome with his army. But Caesar, was deviant. He was defiant. He never listened to them, and then he challenged them that he would be coming back to his home country with his own army. In 1949, I think it was in 49 BC. In 49 BC, Caesar refused the Senate order and famously crossed the river Rubicon with his army, declaring the die is cast. And this act was considered treason, and that was what marked the start of civil war in the then Rome. So it tells you a lot. It was a case of struggle for power. And that's why some people these days will tell you, you have crossed the Rubicon. It was the Rubicon Caesar crossed with his army on his way to Rome after capturing Gaou, the modern day France, and the other things. And they fear that if this man comes back, he has conquered some parts of the world and where, these areas were strong. But if he comes back home here, he would sack all of us and becomes a dictator for life. And you know how the civil war ended and Caesar became the dictator for life. But that's by the way. Now let's go back to issue of energy and the president. I must say this: if your opponent is exploiting your weaknesses, your scandal, it is not witch hunt, it is part of politicking. Take it or leave it. If your opponent is exploiting certain scandalous acts of yours, trying to use it to sway votes, it is politicking. Politics is a game of interest. See, I can go back and tell you in history, there were many US presidents that had one issue or the other. I remember Thomas Jefferson in 1800. He was accused. He was accused by Federalists of having an affair with his enslaved servant, Sally Hemings. In fact, an early case of sex scandal used to discredit a political scandal in the modern democracy. Thomas Jefferson, opponent exploited the way and manner he was treating the enslaved servant, and in fact they had it on ground that he had sexual affairs with the enslaved servant. And you can go on and talk about, look at what happened in 1974. Richard Nixon, the US president, he was brought down by Watergate scandal. And that scandal was more like political espionage and cover-up that ended his presidency. What did he do? He sent operatives backed by taxpayers' money to Democratic Party Secretariat. They broke into the Secretariat just to steal information, and he covered it up. That was what brought President Richard Nixon down, and that's what ended his presidency. The recent one every one of us knows about, Bill Clinton. That was in 1998, where he faced impeachment over Monica Lewinsky's scandal. Are these things, would you call them political witch hunt? Did they happen or did they not happen? Let me come back to that of Naji. When you were coming out to contest for governorship election in Enugu State under APC, you became the candidate, but the forms you submitted to INEC, your highest qualification was XXCE. That was the highest qualification you submitted to INEC. So why didn't you submit BXc in biochemistry and microbiology, the one you tendered before the Senate when you had to be screened as a minister? You knew very well that the one you submitted to INEC was done under oath, and you know what it means. If you lie under oath, it's perjury. You carefully averted submitting the so-called BSc and submitted SSE, and you ran unsuccessful election. Mba won you. And when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu wanted to compensate you with a ministerial slot, as usually the case in Nigerian politics, you were caught up for screening and you submitted a BSc certificate in microbiology and biochemistry, a forged one. You also submitted a forged NYXC, because you know very well that you can't use SSCE to be a minister of federation. Senate will question the rationality, because most time ministerial appointments, these things are done based on competence and expertise. Governor is based on the choice of the people. See, these are two different things. And you know that the one you submit to the Senate will not be done under oath. And you did submit to the Senate BSc certificate and NYSC. NYSC came out to say that the certificate you submitted to the Senate did not come from them. And Premium Times did extensive analysis. In fact, the People's Gazette was the first that raised this alarm many years back, before Premium Times then went holistically to get the entire fact that they wanted. And it was now done to everybody that the certificate you submitted to the Senate while being screened, where did you get it from? The NYC certificate you submitted to the Senate when you were being screened, where did you get it from? Then UNN mistakenly wrote, I think that was in 2022 or thereabouts, that you graduated from the institution. But now, under Professor Otuanya, the current vice chancellor of the university, said that they did not issue such certificate and they could not have. You brought a photo something, I think it was a photo card of the graduating student of 1985, where your picture was situated. In fact, I saw the photo card, very old. And I've seen most of people that are pushing you on, what they were arguing, if he did not graduate from UNN, why was his picture on that photo card of 1985 graduating students?
You know,
I will answer it straight away. If you are a member of a class, your picture will be on the class either group photograph, and as you are progressing and as you are about to graduate, there is normally a photo card, a photo card or a photo page or whatever photo.
You know, those photos are sometimes done even before your final papers.
That is exactly what satisfies whether you graduate from a university or not is the certificate issued, either statement of result from university or certificate.
Suni,
these are the two, not the photo card.
Suni, can I point out something
Please
here?
go on.
Because I don't see why this is even an issue, and I'm really surprised that in 2025 someone is trying to sway this politically. I don't know if he thinks that Nigerians are so unintelligent. Because I mean, everyone sitting in this room now is a graduate. I went to a Nigerian institution, UNN for that matter. So I'll tell you something. Before your degree certificate is given to you, when going for NYSC, as at the time I left school, we were first given a statement of results, not our transcript, a statement of result, which we presented to NYSC and then went to camp.
Exactly.
Now, you cannot be given that statement of result if the school does not have detailed record of your completed grades. As a matter of fact, if you have not complete, if you have an outstanding carryover, you won't be given that statement.
You will not be given that.
So, Nnaji, you had better stop this political theatrics and tell us, did you have carryover that kept you back? Did you not? Because telling us is the school's fault. Like, okay, so where's the statement of results you used to go for NYSC? Now, even without collecting your degree paper, that paper that says it's your certificate, that one has been bandying. If you request for your transcript, the school will send you a soft copy and then send whichever institution you want it to go to a hard copy. It's really unfortunate that is how we still do it in Nigeria. Because yesterday I pointed out that some countries now have systems like India. All you need to do is to go to a particular website, punch in the person's details. I still remember my reg number. And simple, everything is there on the screen. So why isn't Naji making it look like Nigerians didn't go to school?
We are going to break it down for Naji. It is good. Let your opponent exploit whatever scandal. Please, let nobody say it is out of issue. It is this, it is that, it is this, it is this. Your opponent should do that. If Mba is the one doing that, kudos to him. There's nothing wrong with that.
If you have proof, give us.
That is it. If you forge certificates, we should not allow or demoralize those.
He's not
very smart in business. I've checked some of his business endeavors, how he became who he is today. Very smart. You could be smart in business, you may not be smart in academics.
You know,
see, it's important we point it out. The point remains that yes, you say that Mba wants to join APC, and he knows that he will have you to contend with. That APC has concluded plans to give you tickets, and if that be the case, and Mba sees this loophole and try to exploit it to get into the books of APC and possibly becomes the candidate of the party for 2027 gubernatorial election in Enugu, that is a good move. It's pure politicking. I can go on and tell you how these things are done. Don't start shouting it's a political witch hunt. Let it be political witch hunt, because that's what an opponent is supposed to do. Okay. You are in a contest with him.
Okay, Franklin Ebuka is here
in the studio. He has to be prosecuted anyway. for the forgery. He can't go alone.
He cannot go unpunished.
He cannot.
We cannot finish slaving to
It's criminal.
not slaving, but really working really hard. And you try to. This is a cheap maneuver, and that's why personally I'm kind of getting emotional, because this is something that it's as clear as day. Why are you twisted? Why is it being politicized? Franklin, good morning.
Yes, good morning. I've been listening to two of you with rapt attention regarding what has been playing out with Uchennaji. And yesterday when we talked about him, I recall vividly the conversation I had with somebody about 3 months ago. I went to see a man about 3 weeks ago. I went to see somebody, and from one story to the other, how they grew up. And he told me how he grew up with Uchennaji back then in Enugu, and how Uchennaji got rich, this, and now this is what's playing out. Tony has raised a couple of things which he has to clear, because the issue of trying to rope in government of Enugu State into it, saying that it's a political witch hunt. And the question has been, this very investigation began like 2 to 3 years ago, when Mba had not even lost any ambition of whether he's going to cross to the APC or not. So the investigation had been there for quite a while by what's it called again, Premium Times. In fact, several times they have tried to put a nail to the coffin, but due to uncooperative nature of a UN, they were not able to confirm what they were looking for until Otto came in. When Otto and I got to know about the Freedom of Information Act or request that they made, he tried to respond to that. So trying to bring him back into a saying that is political, which I think he's just trying to see what he can clutch to, because so I think that's what he's trying to do now. Then on the other side, so yesterday, when we finished the show, I think that should be around 11. I got a notification that he was going to have a press conference in Abuja by 2 p.m. And at that 2 p.m., all the pressmen who were invited, they were all there waiting for him to appear, and he didn't show up. And he sent a proxy to go and address the press. My question has been, would their proxy address something that concerns you as your educational background more than you would do? What was he actually so much engaging that he didn't have time to go and clear himself or the mess that he has found himself in? And I have even seen people who have been able to pinpoint the discrepancies in the original certificate being issued by UNN and the one he has. The one he has claiming that he came from UNN, people have been able to point out discrepancy between the numbering systems, security system in the certificate. Then the NYC certificate he's also parading, people have also been able to point out the discrepancies. So the thing is, he has so many questions to answer, which he has to take his time and see how he's going to clear that. Then if he fails to do that, of course, I'm hoping that what happens to Kemi Adeosu should also happen to him, because during the time of Kemi Adeosu, we also know how we went back and forth. Kemi trying to defend her certificate, until at a point in time he owned up that she just paid money and somebody went to procure it for her, and that was the end of her presence in the government of Buhari. So for Nnaji, the pressure has been there, but the thing is, our president, I don't know whether the pressure will in any way get to him. So we're going to watch and see how the government of the day handle this very scandal, because as it stands now, I haven't seen anything coming from Nnaji that is going to convince me that he is speaking the truth. So let's wait and see if he's going to do any magic to prove otherwise. But as it stands now, I think he's inside the bottom now.
It's not about proving otherwise. It's about facing prosecution. And remember, if he's convicted, he will be barred from politics for a minimum of 10 years. That is just waiting. It's not about the next election in 2027. But what faces him is prosecution and then imminent conviction, which if that happens, he will stay out of politics.
But who is going to prosecute him?
Definitely. See, as it is now, forgery, remember, is a criminal matter. So it is expected that the state, and now it has to do with Enugu State, and through the office of the Attorney General and the Director of Public Prosecution Police will get involved for investigation, and they will get advice from the DPP, and he will be prosecuted. Just that after that, it could be a state offense. If that becomes a state offense, he has to wait for any governor that will give him pardon. But if it's a federal offense, it has to be the president that will give him pardon. But if it is state offense, the state will prosecute him. If it is federal offense, the agency of the federal government will prosecute him. Forgery is a criminal act. and then he is presumed to be innocent.
So do you see him being prosecuted? That's the question.
Why not? Salisu Buhari, the speaker in 1999, that came in with Toronto certificate. He has never been to Toronto, Canada, but he paraded fake NYC. He was prosecuted, even though it was Obasanjo that secured his speakership. It was Obasanjo that designed his speakership, but he was prosecuted under Obasanjo. What did Obasanjo do? He gave him presidential pardon. So whether he will be prosecuted, he will. See, let me say this. Nigeria is not a banana republic where everybody comes in with anything and walks away with it. We must have some level of tools to go against certificate forgers. Seriously. Most politicians never had time to go to school. They jebute gombute and use it to bamboozle and bulldoze their ways, and now go and fake certificate. In fact, see, let me say this. Why did he present this to the Senate? Because you can't come to the Senate with SSCE as a minister of science and technology, which they added innovation to. You cannot. Senate may not really confirm you, no matter how the president favored you. How they will ask Mr. President, how can you bring somebody with SSCE? But you can use that SSCE to run for governor, because it is the people that decide whether you be the governor or not. And sometimes people do not care whether SSCE or not. So it is important. He's not just the only one. We talked about Kemi Adeosun the other time. There were those that were involved in this kind of thing. But let me say this. In fact, the former minister of communication, Shitu, never had NYSC, but he never presented one. The court ruled you don't need NYSC to be appointed a minister. You don't even need those things to be appointed a minister. But the point is that how can you bring it as your only qualification for such position in a country where you have many scientists at different levels?
You know, so the funniest part is, like Franklin asked you, who is going to prosecute
the
him?
State.
You know, Naji could have actually gotten away, I mean, without presenting this document as a minister. He would have still been verified, going by the fact that, unfortunately, what we have are compensatory appointments as against meritorious appointments. And so Naji could have just gone on to become a minister without trying to fake.
If he had done that, and then when he is asked to bring his resume before the Senate, and the only thing he has is SSCE.
Is there somewhere in the Constitution where it says that a person who has only SSCE cannot be a minister?
I've said it here. It is not in the Constitution. It is the prerogative of Mr. President. But
that's what I'm saying. That's why I said he could have gotten away.
It will be a laughing stock. They will laugh at him.
And the president is not being laughed at now.
Now, the point is, if the moment Mr. President appointed him minister, or the nominee, if he had made the Senate President may waive a lot of things on his own part without bringing those things to public. There are times they go to closed section and do all their abracadabra at the closed section. Waive a lot of
politicians in Anambra State who wanted to get to the presidency. They were trying to see if they can have a channel through him to get to the presidency. Now, let's assume that Enugu State government might decide to take up the responsibility to prosecute him. Who is going to lead that very charge? Is it the governor of Enugu State who is trying to negotiate his way into the APC? Who is going to do that? And if he's going to do that, would that not be trying to go against what might be the wish of Mr. President? So can we lay our hands on anything to indicate that there is a chance that he can be prosecuted?
Just like I said earlier on, you mentioned the Kemi Adeosun. Kemi Adeosun case was where she bandied fake NYC certificate, and she later agreed. In fact, she later said that it was fake, that she publicly asked for forgiveness, that it was never done on her, that those who had put this thing before her, they got it from, it was I think exemption, fake. I think
it's
fake exemption letter. She wasn't saying that she participated in NYC. She never said so. Remember, she applied for exemption through the people that she made such application. they took her money and gave her a fake one. And she said that she never knew that she was given a fake exemption letter. She admitted. In fact, when it was put to her, she said it was fake. Just that.
Because you mentioned, I'm talking about the recent government we have had.
Let's talk about the recent.
Is there a fact to show that there could be a will coming from the federal government or from the state government? Now we're talking about state government where everybody is singing the praises of Mr. President because they've been having more money to do their project. In fact, virtually all the governors in Nigeria are in sync with Mr. President. Everybody wants to have his imprimatur. Everybody wants to be in his good books. Now let's assume that Uchenna is in the good books of Mr. President. Would the state of Enugu State or would the governor of Enugu State have that very political will to go to court and ensure that the minister is prosecuted?
Remember, it is now a political thing. Any matter between the state and the person, it is within the jurisdiction of the state to prosecute. And just like I've said earlier on, you have state offenses, you have federal offenses. And then in this case, if it is federal offense, the federal law that will be used for the prosecution, it also involves that the federal authorities will be involved. And situations where they don't want to be involved, he may end up not being prosecuted. For the fact he's not prosecuted today, may not be prosecuted tomorrow. Criminal matters do not with time. It is not time bound. Criminal matters do not have a time limitation. It can be done in 10 years time, in 14 years time. Government comes and go. The point remains that, remember, under section of the Constitution, I think I cited that section 211, 211, subsection 1 of the Constitution. If you go down under the state Attorney General can withdraw, can take over, can discontinue any matter, criminal matter, is there in the Constitution. But the Constitution says it must be done in the interest of the states. That is where governor and president are given so much power. A criminal case could be going against anybody if it has to do with a federal offense. The president directing the Attorney General to discontinue. If it is EFCC, anybody to do it themselves, they can discontinue it from the court. So that is the power of the Constitution. But is it right? The answer is no. That is one of the amendments we are going to do, so that this portion of the Constitution that gives the president and the governors to the Attorney General to discontinue, to take over, to withdraw. So they may do these things not in interest of the state, but on a political interest. That is where Franklin is coming from. But Franklin, the only thing I can assure you is, what is constant in this life is what? Time and change. Time is everly constant. Change is always constant. But the point is, government comes and do what?
Goes.
That is it. So if this government fails to do it, it is a matter before a public opinion. Definitely the people may use it as against the government involved, hoping that any government that comes in power, they will do the needful.
But
and one thing is this.
Can he be prosecuted by another government on the same matter?
No. We mean, if, let's assume it's a state matter now. Naji, Mba decides not to do it, right? Another government of Enugu, maybe after election, comes on and decides to. Why not?
And even after he stops being a minister,
why not? The issue is, forgery is a criminal offense. And then if you look at it, those that have been prosecuted over time, I'm aware that many of them were prosecuted depending on the laws used. Sometimes criminal code is used, and criminal code is a federal law. Some states have domesticated it. Penal code as used in the north is also a federal law. Some states have also domesticated it. Look at this senator, this Kobowei Benson. That was 2024. Senator representing Bayelsa Central, whom I think he was accused of forging his NYSC exemption certificate, and he submitted false documents. He was charged by the Nigerian police in the Federal High Court Abuja. The case as we speak now is ongoing. This Senator Kobowei Benson, the current senator representing Bayelsa Central, what is he being charged for? Submitting fake exemption certificate, NYC exemption certificate. The sections of the the code, the criminal code being used, section 366, that deals with the issue of forgery, pretense, section 156, cap 532, laws of the Federation 1990. So the point I'm trying to make here is this: his case is still ongoing. I'm aware of Ahmed Abubakar Ndakene, House of Rep member from Kwara State. He was accused to have submitted forged certificate to INEC, not NYC. He was accused of submitting forged certificate to INEC. He has been arraigned in court, but he was granted 5 million naira bail bond.
Do you think that is, bail bond? Okay.
But I think his own case was later dismissed for lack of sufficient evidence. That was his own case. I'm talking about Ahmed Abubakar.
So Tony, let's round off this conversation because we're almost out of time. Sometime last week, if I can recall vividly, last month or sometime in August, we got a message, we got a report that Senator George Akume said there is a new national credential verification service that is on board. It was supposed to become effective yesterday. That is going to be used to verify certificates to make sure that fake credentials are not bandied across the country. So employers, people who work in different parastatals can now have their certificates verified through that means. Do you see this checking the proliferation of fake certificates? Do you think that we will not also politicize this?
I think it's important to note that there are many ways you can verify certificates. It could be direct institutional verification. It could be third-party credential verification service. Third-party. It could also be digital and blockchain-based verification systems. I don't know.
Yeah, but this one Nigeria is working on. Is this something you believe in? Going by how we do things around here, how we sabotage systems that we put in place ourselves.
We need to have it, and I don't think it will be politicized.
Okay.
I know we have weak institutions, and where some of these things are compromised. If these things are done digitally, there's no doubt. I know why UNN is trying to watch its hands off as far as this matter is concerned. Definitely, there was a time they did say Uche Naji was once a student, that he graduated, but later recanted, saying that their documents show that he never graduated. They never issued him certificate.
But he was admitted in 1981.
He was admitted in 1981 to study biochemistry and microbiology under the Department of Biological Science. Okay. And very close to my own department in UNN. Very close. We usually go there. Because my department was physical, computer science and statistics, but then the faculty of physical science, their own was biological science faculty. So the point I'm trying to make here is this: we need such verification systems. Let it be digital.
All right.
But can it be compromised? It can, but if it happens, it means that the institution itself will be in a very big problem.
All right, then we take a break at this point to attend to a commercial. We'll be right back to look at other matters. To stay.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
People of Upo and the entire Anambra State, get ready for a life-changing apostolic invasion. It's Upo Citywide Crusade, powered by Upo Christian Association, with the Restoration Apostle Johnson Suleiman, live in Anambra State. A divine awakening for signs and wonders. Come and witness the mighty miracles of God in a prophetic atmosphere like never before. Upo Citywide Crusade. Theme: the Lord, He is God. It will also feature anointed songs ministrations by Ambassador Chinyere Odoma and Minister Adrian Alex. The date is Tuesday, 28th of October at 4 p.m. and Wednesday, 29th of October 2025 at 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. And it will be happening live at Walter Eze Memorial Secondary School Field, former Boys Secondary School, opposite All Saints Anglican Church, Upo Dunukofia Local Government Area of Anambra State. For inquiries, call 0903 952 1048 or 0806 297 8399. Please note that there will be free transportation to the crusade ground. Upo Citywide Crusade. Come in faith and you shall see the power of God.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
And of course, it's still The Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. We're going over to some religious matters now because we got the information about Canterbury appointing a female bishop. Now, this particular decision has been one that has come under a lot of fire. The Church of Nigeria, talking about the Anglican Communion, has now declared spiritual independence from the Church of England, rejecting the appointment of Bishop Sarah Mullally as the new Archbishop of Canterbury. The church said Sarah's support for same-sex marriage and her elevation as the first female to hold the position signify a troubling moral decline within the leadership of the Anglican Communion. In a statement by the Primate of the Church of Nigeria, the Most Reverend Henry Ndokoba, the church describes the announcement made on Friday, 3rd of October 2025 as devastating and insensitive, accusing the Church of England of ignoring the deep divisions already facing the global Anglican Communion. And so, Tony, two things here. Sarah Mullally's support of same-sex marriages and the gender presentation here. This is 2025, and so one would have thought that this gender disparity shouldn't even make it to the conversation, but it has been at the fore. And of course, this same talk about supporting same-sex marriages, I recall, is one of the things that the late Pope of the Catholic Church had around him at the time when he talked about blessing gay people, not the gay marriage, but not taking the blessing away from people who are in same gender relationships. I recall how many interpretations that particular statement got, how many essays were written and all of that. And there we have it again. A support that I didn't readily find any material to say that she has, tried to make it a part of the doctrine of the Anglican Communion. But there you have it. She's come under fire and the Anglican Communion in Nigeria has broken away. Are you surprised by this development?
Am I surprised? When I saw that very message that Anglican Communion has broken away, and I asked, how many times will you break away? This is not the first time you broke away. And now, before now, you had said that you had broken away spiritually, doctrinally, and otherwise. You can't keep breaking away all the time. Let me say this. I'm going to come back to some history about Canterbury. But before then, I must also let everyone to know that you have to be very exact. The Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion first broke away from the Church of England. That was in 2002. That is 2002. Why they did that was in protest against what the Nigerian Anglican leadership saw as liberal theological trends in the Western Anglican churches, especially concerning the ordination of homosexual priests and same-sex blessings in the United States and England. I think it was first done under Archbishop Peter Jasper Akinola. The Nigerian church declared its independence from the moral authority of Canterbury, affirming that it will no longer follow the leadership of the Archbishop of Canterbury on matters of doctrine and morality that contradicted the Bible. That was in 2002. Remember, it was in 1979 that Church of Nigeria became an independent Anglican province, no longer under administrative control of Canterbury. That was in 1979. But after that 1979, they still followed the Church of England or the Bishop of Canterbury in the area of morality and theology. But they severed that in 2002, I think 2002, under Archbishop Jasper Akinola. So, having severed everything with them, what are you severing again? I don't know if they understand their history. You can't just keep telling us each time you have severed. The current bishop now, the current primate, should have known that there had been severance in 2002 over ordination of gay priest and then homosexual priest.
And so Sarah's appointment doesn't necessarily affect them or concern them.
I think they would, if I were them, they say they will continue to pray for them because there has been severance. You continue to pray for them because I don't know if they understand their own history. So having said that, remember I just said one time, most times when I remember, Canterbury, is a historic city in the county of Kent. Southern or southeastern England is primary importance is as historic as ecclesiastical center of England and the mother church of the Anglican Communion. In fact, it is the home of Canterbury Cathedral, the seat of Archbishop of Canterbury. I remember the first time we had a Catholic bishop Catholic Archbishop who was Archbishop of Canterbury. That was St. Augustine of Canterbury. When he arrived on a mission from Pope Gregory the Great, that was sometime around 597 AD, and established the archiepiscopal see in that very city before the Anglican Protestants, they were being called then, took over. And then the first person that was there was Thomas Cranmer. So I think that's the situation. Most times when I remember Canterbury, what comes to my mind is the history behind it and everything. So the point I have made here is this. The Anglican or the Church of Nigeria should continue to pray for Church of England for whatever they are doing, which contradicts the biblical injunction and then the teachings in the Bible. But as severing from them, they should be reminded that they had severed far back in 2002. So they should know their history and records.
Well, maybe in the coming days, maybe there could be more explanation to what happened, because if you read some papers, they will say, they've broken the ties with Church of Canterbury. Some will say that they have rejected the appointment of, the Archbishop, saying that because of her antecedents or because of what she represents. But Tony, where I want to go to now is when the former Pope in the Catholic Church, when he came under scrutiny, it was this issue of same-sex thing. Though in his own context, he said priests can bless same-sex, or rather, he can priests can bless gay people who come to them for blessings.
Not gay marriages.
Not gay marriages.
Gay
That's why he said it. But different meanings were into it, different interpretations, and people began even to come hard on the church. Now we have the Church of Canterbury also going this very way. We know how former Archbishop ended. We know how he ended. In fact, it was even such scandal that brought his reign to an end. And this very one came in with another scandal. So, or should I call it scandal with another questions around. Now, can we say that the church is under a secular attack because the thing that ordinarily might not have come up, or let's say the thing that many years ago the church in any way was never liberal in that very area? It seems the church is now becoming liberal in this whole thing, because this issue of same-sex marriage, it seems to have crept into the church, and maybe the two mother churches.
I think there is modernization, and this modernization is affecting quite a lot. And you ask, why is this thing creeping into church? Remember, church has its foundation rooted in the teachings of our Lord Jesus Christ and the first apostles, the 12 apostles, and then the missionary works of St. Paul's and so many people. So it's important that over time, just like we said earlier on, change is constant. And this issue of gay is not new. Remember, if you go back to history, when you talk about Sodom and Gomorrah, what that very city, I think Sodom and Gomorrah should be in the present day Iraq, or I'm not too, maybe yes, present day Iraq or thereabouts, or Syria. They are known for same sex.
Mythologically.
That is it. They were known for things like this. All these anal sex, all these, things that we see now. These things are there before and they were there. And the church came even when there was no church then. Until Christ came. So it is important to understand that people who have upturned the scripture, because these days you read the scripture and then you interpret what you think is the theological meaning and say, they will tell you, right on, pastor, right on. These are things we see these days. So they have changed the real meanings to their own contextual meanings. So for me, some of them who are doing this, what is same-sex? Was it part of what Christ taught? And then ordaining woman as a bishop. Why,
let's not get into the agenda thing. Like I asked earlier, this is 2025.
Do you know why the church is saying this? Because Sarah Mulaili was ordained the Archbishop of Canterbury, number 1. She's a woman. She had been a bishop, but they felt that being a bishop is not just the issue which they protested, but making her number 1 bishop in the mother church of Anglican Communion. So the issue why they are speaking now is not because of her belief or her views. Yes, she has been supporting same-sex marriage, ordaining gay bishops or gay priests. She has been into this for long, Sarah Mulaili. But why is it coming up now is because she was appointed Archbishop of Canterbury, and they felt that that's not the teaching of our Lord Jesus Christ.
But then she's been working in the Church of England. I mean, she just doesn't pop up and become appointed the Archbishop. She's been a bishop before she got to that point. And if as a bishop, the Church of England doesn't find any fault in her supporting same-gender marriages in the process of her work, why is it suddenly a problem? Like you said, the Nigerian congregation had severed ties a very long time ago. This idea of severing ties at the start of whenever there is a conversation around the Anglican Communion, is it not just a mere academic exercise?
I think it's just mere academic exercise, as you said, because for them, there's nothing or relationship going on between them before now. So coming back to the Archbishop of Canterbury, remember she was first ordained as a bishop sometime around July 2015. That's about how many years ago? That should be about 10 years ago. She had been a bishop for 10 good years. She was first the Bishop of Credington, a suffragan. That is, when you talk about suffragan, that is assistant bishop in the Diocese of Exeter. And I remember that was, I think, sometime around 2018, she was installed as Bishop of London, making her the first and the most senior female bishop in the Church of England. This Sarah Mulaili, when she was installed as Bishop of London, that was when people started looking, where is she being projected? We have seen. So remember, she wasn't the first female archbishop anyway, because the first female archbishop was I think Joanne Grenfell, who was appointed in 2024 as the Archbishop of York. So it's on record that Joanne Grenfell was the first female archbishop in the Church of England's history, not even Sarah Mulaili. But Sarah Mulaili has topped her as the Bishop of Canterbury, as number 1. So to answer your question, apart from the views they expressed, it is obscenity in the eyes of traditional and conservative Christians for a woman to be even ordained a priest, ordained a bishop, ordained an archbishop, and even ordained as Archbishop of Canterbury.
She's been working there for a very long time.
Yes, the woman, one thing, I have not seen her, I have not met her, but the pictures I've seen, videos I've seen, she laughs, she makes people happy. And she has been sitting in the House of the Lords from the moment she was made the Bishop of London. She became a member of the House of the Lords by virtue of the fact that she was then a bishop of London. Remember that House of Lords is made up of the clergy and the nobility. These are the people that constitute the House of the Lords, and not that they have much executive or legislative powers. They review a lot of things going out or going on in the House of Commons. So the point remains that was not what happened. It wasn't the teaching of the Christ. When Samuel Ajayi Crowther of blessed memory brought that version of Christianity here, he never saw this. We are, as Samuel Ajayi Crowther is today, he'll be crying. Because if things were this way, he couldn't have brought the religion into Nigeria. Remember, he was the first Anglican bishop in Africa. That's Samuel Ajayi Crowther. So the point I'm trying to make is important. We have derailed. And I don't know why westernization is creeping across different structure, different sector. These days, if you do not comply with their Western culture, they will victimize you. They will tell you they will withdraw aid this, aid that. And these are things Trump is fighting. For those who hate Trump, Trump is a strong conservativist. And he's against things like this. Even when we know he has his own problems and he has his own issues, but he's against things like this. And these are things Obama is supporting, because for Obama, same-sex marriage is good. Gay bishop, gay priest, very fine, fantastic, because what we are concerned about is winning soul, not the sexuality of the person. Who told you? Because whoever that is a priest, you know what that means. The congregation looks up to you. So what will you be teaching them? Have you turned into those who say, hi Jesus, hey Jesus? Is that the way it goes? No, let's not turn the table around and pretend that all is well. This is not what it should be. So I think the Anglican church here should be praying for the mother church. They are their own mother church, because that's where they came from. But it doesn't mean they cannot pray for. They can pray for them. Keep praying for them. Things are turning so bad in a way that is unimaginable, so fast. If you go out there, you say all different LGBT plus. I think they have added another thing after the plus. I don't know the one they added now, because it started with LGBT. They added plus, and then there is another one they added of recent. I don't know. Maybe you may remind me. It tells you what the world is turning into, and some will tell you it's end time. There is nothing like end time. For now, there is nothing like that. See, for those of us that followed history very well, we know that the world has seen things like this before now. And I can vividly tell you that even during the time of Sodom and Gomorrah, these things were obtainable. But I was cleansing. So it takes those with good mind to keep kicking against things like this.
Okay. Those with good mind keep kicking against things like this, but not women's involvement in the running.
Chisom, leave the women.
I was waiting for you to finish.
You have your role to play, not to the role of becoming a priest and becoming a bishop and bishop.
Where does the Bible say women cannot be that?
You said Bible. Who wrote Bible? Who wrote Bible? You are looking at me. See, Christianity is not just it's a movement. Christianity is a way of life.
I am amazed.
See, Christianity is a way of life. So the difference between, I don't want to talk about religion here, but just notice that Christianity is not just a religion, it's a way of life. And you have somebody you are following, Christ. Did Christ appoint a woman as any of the 12 apostles or 12 disciples?
Okay, Christianity is a movement, and
it's
Christ
a way
didn't
of life.
appoint any female apostle. Thankfully, the traditional African religion recognizes the place of Eze wine.
Oh, you mean this Eze wine? You mean the fake one or the real one?
The real one. I mean, the traditional African religion from time immemorial has always recognized the place of women.
Eze wine functions under Eze Mo. Eggs and wine functions under eggs and more.
See, eggs and wine have their jurisdiction. Eggs and more have their jurisdiction.
You don't understand me. If
they are in charge of different things entirely.
See, if you go to Greek mythology,
I'm talking African mythology.
If you come back to Africa, I'm just trying to tell you that eggs and wine, even in Greek, all their female deities They are deity of this, deity of that, but they function under one major deity. That is why I'm telling you that
even African religion always has the presence of the Chukwu, and then there are other significant figures.
We are not saying that women do not have their roles in every religion. In fact, if you talk about women, they are the CWOs. You can't take that jurisdiction from them. You cannot take their jurisdiction. You cannot take their jurisdiction. So, but we are saying that they function under one head. That is why I told you X and Y functions under X and more in the real sense of African tradition.
I don't get it, because it would never make sense to me. When you say X and Y functions under X and more, I do know that there are certain deities that are in charge, that are would I say, what am I even saying? There are deities that their business is centered around a goddess, and only a female takes charge of them. She doesn't function under any Ezemo.
No.
She doesn't take orders from the dictates of any Ezemo.
You don't understand when I say that maybe Ezemo functions under Ezemo, not from the angle of taking jurisdiction. It's from the angle of power. Power. See, no. See, let's
power.
See. As na Ike, they know the word Ike.
We are not saying the same thing here.
No, maybe you don't understand what I'm trying to. The point is this. There is always a superior in everything,
and the superior has to be of the male gender.
It's not. No. I'm talking about issue of either what we are talking about. There are other areas. It mustn't be a man.
And Nigeria has issues, right? Nigeria has a lot of issues, and this is the list of it.
If you are going to African tradition recognizes man as the head in everything.
Tony,
but that's it.
We won't. If we start this gender argument, God knows it's
not
ending anytime soon. And this session of the show has 4 more minutes to go. Right. And so Boko Haram is waging a war of evil and not religion. Ex-CDS Irabo has that to say. I'm talking about former Chief of Defense Staff Lucky Irabo, who said that what Boko Haram is waging is a war of evil and not a war of religion. And it is, according to him, a campaign of terror waged by fanatics who hid under the guise of Islam to inflict pain, suffering, and devastation on Nigerian innocents. He reviewed this in Chapter 7 of the newly launched book titled Scars, Nigeria's Journey and the Boko Haram Conundrum. He said the group's claim of fighting for religious purity was merely a cover for the monstrous acts it carried out against both Muslims and Christians across Nigeria. And also, this is at the backdrop of talks that there is a religious killing going on in Nigeria. The Senate has also said it is going to react to that. It is going to speak on that once it resumes plenary today. But what do you think concerning what Lucky is saying? Because there are talks also of declaring a state of emergency on the Nigerian security issue.
I listened to him last night, and if I remember, he did a book launch a few days ago. And then in that book, I think the title of his book is Care, Nigerians' Journey and the Boko Haram Conundrum. That's the title of the book that was launched some days back. And then he spoke extensively about what he meant by scars and the Nigerians' journey, and then his time, the experience he had as tactical commander and division commander, and at the point, the lead commander as far as Nigerian army is, as Nigerian defense is concerned. So he has spoken his mind about the problem of Boko Haram insurgency in Nigeria. He traced it back to 1962. I listened to him last night saying that, remember the first treason that happened in Nigeria where Awolowo was committed to jail, that was 1962, and then how the First Republic fell as a result of political disagreements and issues that politics is all about, conflicts, and then how to manage it. And then he tried to reel it down to present day, and then the advent of Fourth Republic, how it started. And I listened to him perfectly well, but I was looking at him to indict the political class. He was very careful not to indict the political class. Not that he exonerated them completely, but he never indicted them. It's one thing for to exonerate someone and at the same time not to indict the person. I think that's the the mix I saw in all his statements. I have not taken time to read the book. But in all of this, we must stop living in denial. We must tell ourselves truth. The whole truth and nothing but the truth. We know that Boko Haram insurgency in Nigeria, it has different legs. It has economic leg, it has religious leg, it has political leg. But when you say that they are not waging the war of religion, you may be economically not balanced or being economical with the truth. It has its own leg, or one of the legs, waging religious war. But that's not entirely what they are into. One of the legs, waging religious war. So for Lucky to say that it's just they are waging evil, not religious, that's one of the legs. There is one of the legs that is even waging political evil. So you must define the evil, even. So I have not, read his book. I have not taken time to go through the book, but I listened to him last night, and some of the things he said, and then I agree with him to an extent, but I disagree in some extent. So from the look of things, he talks about policy, formation, political decisions, and political wills to get something done. Yes, I agree. So we must tell ourselves the truth in this country and stop living in denial. Stop living in denial. There are times we are told that these Boko Haram insurgents, according to some people, that they were demanding better schools, they were demanding, but for me, those things are propaganda. And in fact, the political class has also used these insurgent groups to wage political war. Disguise it in whatever they call it. Let's be real. Let's be real.
All right, then, we're going to take a break at this point, attend to a commercial. Once we come back, we open up the phone lines, and you would have a chance to have your say. It's been from the certificate forgery issues down to the rejection, rather the severing of ties from the Anglican Communion here in Nigeria, from the Communion in England, over the appointment of a same-gender relationship supporting Archbishop, and then down to some security matters here in Nigeria. It's one that we have battled with for quite some time now. Do stay.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic. Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Quality bread, Wendy's bread, for your family breakfast. Wendy's bread, how about it and it is yellow? Wendy's bread, mama papa they like Wendy's bread, not it and do. Wendy's bread, even children they like Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread, Ninta. Wendy's bread, you get it better tasty, we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread, Wendy's your bachoma. Wendy's bread, the champion.
Wendy's bread, your tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, 2nd Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Onitsha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tani Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
So we're opening the phone lines now. Go ahead and have your say. 0803-827-6694, 0803-221-6974. 2 minutes, go straight to the point. Be as objective as possible. Hello, good morning.
Comrade, I'm calling you from Onitsha.
Go ahead, comrade.
Thank you very much. Let me begin with the bad energy, whatever. No. what is his name? That minister.
The Minister of Science and Technology.
Yes. You see, in our local parlance here, we say that Obon and Minister is the Baro or Baro Gaba. So when the president's certificate is the subject of controversy, the primary school, secondary school, even his state of origin, everything about him is surrounded in controversy. So what do you expect the ministers to do? So these are what we keep on seeing in APC government. It started since APC assumed the power. So it is a normal thing. Nobody is going to prosecute him. That's how it will end. Now, coming to the Anglican hearing ties with the Church of England, although the hearings have happened as far back as just like Olisa Mbeki stated, but it doesn't take away the issues they are raising. See, ordaining a woman, a female, a bishop, and archbishop, in fact, to me, it is the height of authority. Even our code of conduct, which is the Bible, it is clearly stated there. In fact, if you check other religion, just like you raised Chisom, in our Igbo traditional cosmology, for the avoidance of doubt, everyone has her own jurisdiction. You know, she cannot come to the public function and break a kola nut. You understand? And breaking of kola nut signifies authority. You know, it is only the more, just like the story stated, has that power to do that. See, this issue of gender, you know, in general perspective, should not arise if each gender can recognize its role and play it to the fullest. That is our nature made it. I'll give you an example. In that studio where three of you are now, if a snake appears from nowhere, I bet you, Chisom, you'll be the first to run. It is natural. You will run away, you forget your bag, you forget your shoes. Because then, when probably Olisa Mbeki and Ebuka successfully, finish killing the snake, that is when you will come back. These are natural. Okay? So when we understand our rules, our God-given rules, all this gender issue should not arise. So my point is this: ordaining a woman a bishop, check other religious faith. There is no, in fact, that of Islam, their own is even worse. So when you consider all these factors, you find out that what the diocese on the Niger, what the issue they are raising, it is valid. And what are they going to do to keep on praying for them? Irrespective of the fact that they have their fight long ago.
You should be rounding off now.
So my point is this issue of gender, it is neither here nor there.
All right, thank you for your contribution. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, you're welcome.
Yeah, Samuel, I'm calling from Onitsha.
Go ahead, Samuel.
It's unfortunate that I'm an Anglican. I was born, baptized. I'm a communicant. I went there in Anglican, and I'm hearing such things. Tony, does these people, these Western people, do they even know that we practice tradition and culture here?
They want you to. They want you to follow.
About England that colonized us.
They want you to follow their culture. That's why I have always said this wedding gown, white gown, we usually put on something that Queen Victoria of England. That was the first woman to put on something like that, and over time it became a kind of a class and then a follow-up. And today in our own country home, Nigeria, you will see some of us wear wedding gown, white wedding gown, march to altar, something starting from Queen Victoria. And for me, I don't buy those things. What happened to our own Isiago? What happened to our own Isiago? They can't, force their culture on us. See, culture is people's way of life. Their language is what.
Lot of Nigerian Anglican communities shouldn't even try praying for them. It's going to be a waste effort. So praying for them is as good as nothing. So they should allow them to do their thing.
All right, thank you for your contribution. Let's hear you. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Tony.
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
I am Ogene Ndibo. For it now. I'm calling from Onitsha.
All right, make it snappy, Reginald.
Okay, what I'm saying is this: the issue of Minister of whatever.
Science and Technology.
Science and Technology. It will be a slap to the face of Nigerians and the so-called, our lawmakers, that this man is not prosecuted. So if it is true that what the praise is being given to these people, His Excellency or whatever is something to go home by, that man should be prosecuted. And can see that the UNL has exonerated itself from that demand by denying that they are dealing on issues such as this. Then for the presence of the country to prove to us that there are a lot of sincerity and honesty on the Nigerian polity, that man is supposed to be prosecuted. I can just cite what happened when they were doing campaign. You can remember vividly that the so-called the AP went inside the motor park and gathered some people and put on some bishop clothes on them, proving that the church or whatever has just endorsed them to do one religion or one type of faith in something. So that's what I'm saying. That's where the something started. So that was, I'm buying something from the person that I just spoke in the first person there, that music is an issue. But what I'm saying is this: for the president to prove to us that he is excellent and that whatever he is doing here is something to write him about. For posterity's sake, that man must be prosecuted under that thing, because it is conspiracy to the highest level. This fault is ignored. You know that Nigeria has become a banana republic. That is what Ogene Ndibo has said.
Thank you for your contribution. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
This is Sunday from a blog.
Go ahead, Sunday.
Concerning the Archbishop and the gender or not gender. These people have turned church upside down. But that's not concerned. We know what Bible says and we believe in it. Because when we are talking of women or men, even God himself says he created man as his own image. And from man he made woman. In Adam and the Eve, according to the Bible, when the woman sinned, God did not even ask her. But the moment his husband comes and committed the same sin, God now comes down to prove to us that everything lies on man. Every structure, especially spiritual one. Those days of Israel, the priest, all the Levites, all the old priests, these men they selected. Even Christ come also for this Western world come into civilization, gender, equality. Look at how church it is today. Some females become pastors, become this. Please, to me, let them have it there. But here we are. We know what the Bible has told us, and we will continue to do. Whoever that want to do otherwise, that is for him. Thank you.
All right then. 0803-221-69740, 0803-827-6694. Go ahead. You have 2 minutes. Good morning.
A wonderful morning to you.
Good morning.
Happy New Week.
You're welcome. Yeah. Good morning.
Good,
I salute you.
Thank you so much, sir. Kudos to you. I'm not going to rival.
Thank you so much.
Always eating the hammer and the name. Always. This is a voice of lawyer. Lawyer, I'm calling you from Onitsha.
Go ahead.
It's an issue of what they call it. Irabo, the former general thing. I don't know why they are just beating around the bush. United Arab Emirates people, named those people that are sponsoring Boko Haram here in Nigeria and the bandits here in Nigeria. Nigerian government is not doing anything. After some months, United States of America named almost the same people that are sponsoring Boko Haram and the terrorists here in Nigeria. Nigerian government is going to arrest any of them. But the way they handle the people that sponsor the NSAS and the end government, bad government, they did not waste time to arrest and prosecute their accounts. What is really happening? Those people know that it is human beings that they are killing on daily basis. Even no Arab country will tolerate somebody being a terrorist. No Arab country. But here in Nigeria was tolerating them with this globe. Please, Nigerian government to do the needful. Those people that United Arab Emirates people named and United States of America, they should go and arrest them. So as for them to stop this type of insurgency, the way they are killing people here in Nigeria. As for that one that forged the certificate, it is not only him. If we say let people that are using some kind of certificate, but banks.
You should be rounding off now.
Also to our doctors, our politicians, there are not up to 20% of them that are operating with that got their certificate in the rightful way. So let me stop here so that others will do something.
All right then. Good morning.
Wonderful morning to you, Chisom Chinedu, Franklin and Olisa Mbeki. My regards. Honorable to DK. I'm calling from Onitsha.
Let's hear you, DK.
Let me just go straight to woman that I'm just a match. Let me also say that our Orthodox churches is not helping matters. So they think that the Anglican Communion is breaking away. They shouldn't continue breaking away. I think this is the second time I had them say they're breaking away from the Church of England. They need to take a serious, if it is a legal action or any process that should be done to ensure that they are truly out of that particular Church of England, because it's not helping them at all. And if we should look at the other video that trended sometime, a reference sister that came out, there's some allegations. I also expect the institution, the Catholic body, to come out and make a statement, because their message went viral. So these two Orthodox churches that don't really know their stand these days, it's better off they take a stand and ensure that the right thing is being done. We can't be feeling the heat from the political sector and in the religious sector, where we need to come and have find succor and rest for the souls which Christ has died for. Because the irony of it all is that most of them don't even know that they are just shepherds. This thing has been handed over to them to oversee. And what is the fate of those who are following? Taking, I don't know what they're making out of the followers. So it's uncalled for. I think they need to come out and take a stand, especially the Catholic body and that of the Anglican, we kept on breaking away. Now, coming to the man that fought certificate, let me commend UNN. I must have to commend them, because if other universities have done what UNN has done, the integrity is there. And one thing is certain, anybody that went through this university, UNN, it's always come out with a difference. Not all this, I'm not trying to undermine other universities, but I have a point here, because in the 60s, they were the one that produced this Bunigwell, that we used to, engage Nigeria and defend ourselves within Nigerian Biafra civil war. So this university today has come out again and proven a difference. This thing is happening all over the universities in Nigeria, and we can't see, we are not even, okay, look at.
All right, you should be rounding off now. I'd have to let you go.
I'm just trying to portray this point. Look at the one that happened in Chicago. Suddenly, our president's details disappeared from the registrar. So I just want to commend you and let them keep it up. Thank you so much.
All right, then, Tony, word on the street is also that there's been a proof that Nnaji had a carryover from 400 level that he has not written.
Carryover. Having a carryover is not a sin.
No, it's not the same, but he hasn't written it, so definitely he can have a certificate.
There's no way he can have a certificate. There's no way.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning, Chico. Good morning.
You're welcome.
Go ahead. We can hear you.
Thank you. Concerning the Anglican bishop, I don't see anything wrong women being job. But the Bible says that I will pour out my spirit on all flesh. as sons and daughters professor. It's not about within the gender. It's all about spiritual aspect. How are you your relationship with God? Because when it comes to Christianity, I don't think discrimination is needed. So it's all about whether the woman or the man, how good is in Christ. Because look at what is happening. If you know the 10 men that were practicing homosexuality, both or even other religions. So for me, I don't designate. What I would prefer is what Christ preaching. Everybody within God, in our God, everybody are them. That's what I want.
All right, then let's head over to Facebook.
All right. Okay. Just to add something, because that's something that we know always do, which I find funny. Not to support or disagree, but when we put Bible passages based on the convenience or based on what we want to confirm, and we leave the other part of it. If you go to 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 12 to 13, it says, I do not permit a woman to teach or to assume authority over a man. She must be quiet. There are so many passages, the thing is, because this issue of whether a woman should be head of church or should not be is neither here nor there. So I don't think we should be going to that very area. Now, let's go to our Facebook page and see the reactions we have here. We have this very one coming from Master Beham. He says Senator Natasha Udala, representing Kogi Central, has officially resumed plenary after completing her 6-month suspension for the National Assembly, can still reclaim her committee chair. Okay, he's watching from Onitsha. Then Dr. Mrs. Lebara from Orimo says Benjamin Kalu should desist from distracting Governor Oti, who is providing dividends of democracy to Abians. Imagine Nigerians buying gas, kerosene, diesel, and fuel at exorbitant prices in a country blessed with both human and natural resources. Our leaders should realize that the life of the common man is fast becoming bestial, while their confidence in the ruling class is also fast eroding. She wrote plenty, but I'm going to quote it here. Gosul Okoye says, my take will be on the Church of Nigeria Anglican rejecting the appointment of a woman as Archbishop of Canterbury. And he says it is really commendable. And he's saying that it's not biblical for women to be head or leader in the house of God. Talk more of the woman supporting gay marriage. Then Rochelle Nobia Wicked Christopher says, okay, he posted from College of Education in Suba. He says it's only in Nigeria that such certificate scandals will be going on and the person will still be in government. Naji should resign and clear his name. The reason he is giving us is not a related defense, but diversionary in nature. If Naji is in good terms with the president, this case will die off while he retains his position. As the saying goes, like father, like son. Okay, then Ugochukwu Frank says, same old script, Minister Uchen Naji now fighting to hide his academic records. And just like Mr. President, wasted millions abroad to block simple transparency. If your certificate is clean, why the fear? And he says Nigerians deserve leaders, not frauds in disguise. Then Mbuchobi from Ihiala said what the Anglican Church of Nigeria did is quite good. Then also Francis Namani says those asking court to stop former President Goodluck Jonathan not to recontest for presidency come 2027 are mere joking. No amount of pressure will change the mindset of Nigerians at this point in time. He posted from Amagunze. Then Emperado K. Richie Ray Mwachi Mereze from Enugu State, he says it's laughable that the Anglican Church in Nigeria is distancing themselves from the church in England as if the church in Nigeria was originally from Africa. Anglican Church is a product and culture of England, and the church in Nigeria should obey their masters. Okay, then the wise here, Sanson Ifani, who again, Oji Daniel, Stephen Woko, Surprise Darlington Okibo, Moses Chukwu Mancho, Oba Anthony Kem, Hot Point Media, Onuchukwu Emmanuel, plenty of other reactions on this very page, and trying to see, just to acknowledge your post here, because of course we're racing against time. Thank you all for all the posts you made on our page. We quite appreciate it.
All right then, Tony, we are taking down the curtain. What would your last words be?
I think we have to encourage ministers under the present administration, President Bola Tinubu, to ensure that these scandals coming up from time to time, for me, it is becoming national embarrassment and national disgrace. Remember Hannatu Musawe, the current minister of culture. Her own case was she's still serving under NYC when she was appointed a minister, and there was this case brought before the court against her that NYC Act says that you must do that NYC wholeheartedly without engaging in any public ethics. So, but then the court ruled that you can't bring this case because you lack local standard. Well, I think Tunji Ojo, the Minister of Interior, there was this allegation again that he brought forged NYC certificate, and now we are having that of Uche Naji. Well, that's by the way, and they should do something so that these things will not reoccur. And then I would also want to say our brother Caleb Muftwang, who has applied to be the first son of Senator Oluremi Tinubu. And that time when you're told that the APC national chairman applied to be the first son of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Muftwang, the governor of Plateau State, has also applied that Oluremi Tinubu should be his own mother. Chisom, why wouldn't I make my own application? When Natawe, the APC national chairman, has applied to be the first son of Bola Tinubu, Governor Caleb Muftwang has applied to be the son of Oluremi. I don't know. Maybe I have to apply also to be the last born of Senator Oluremi Tinubu. Probably that would be okay.
That would be very fine. I'm looking forward to that application being made, and I hope it works in your favor, my friend. Thank you, Johnny, for your analysis this morning. Franklin,
if we subject the certificate of many people who are in public offices to scrutiny, Jesus is going to weep. And then let me also use this opportunity to talk about something that I came across yesterday. I saw a letter that Honorable Uchenna Harris Okonkwo, representing Idemota South Federal Constituency, he wrote to the governor of Anambra State asking him to release Akwakuko. I don't know whether he's trying to latch on to what Obayut did to try to see if he can score a cheap political point, or whether he's actually doing the representation for which he was elected. Well, I wish that he will sit back, go through what he wrote, and then determine whether it was worthy that he did what he did.
Okay. Thank you, Franklin, for being a part of the show today. And like I said earlier, we are taking down the curtain on today's edition of the Polity, definitely making a return tomorrow, 9